Okay, hello. My name is Professor Sylvester Henderson, and I am the CEO for Professor for Life Incorporated. Normally on this show, on my podcast, I interview world-acclaimed academics, professors, and scholars. And I am so fortunate this time to introduce a young man who was a student of mine for a short time at Los Medanos College. And he is an extremely smart biology student who graduated from Davis at the top of his class and was the UC Davis President Award 2023 recipient. And so this time we're going to actually hear from a young scholar, and his name is Mr. Abiel Malepeai. And Mr. Abiel, I want to welcome you.
Oh man, Professor Henderson, glory to God. Thank you for having me here, sir.
Can you introduce yourself to our digital media academic world? Tell us something about, where you grew up, where you went to school, and all those things.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. So, once again, my name is Abiel Malepeai, and a little bit about myself is I was born in the United States territory of American Samoa. That is the southernmost U.S. territory. About, over 1,000 miles away in the middle of the South Pacific Ocean. But I was born there to two loving parents. And while I was a baby, together with my 5 older siblings, older sisters, they took us and we all migrated to Northern California. And we planted our roots in South San Francisco, California, to be exact. And so basically, I'm a Bay boy. That's all I know from the Bay Area. Attended K through 12, primary school out there, and then went to junior college, and the peaks and valleys of it all, and then eventually made my way to UC Davis. Who would have thought? And graduated. And then in my gap years now, preparing for my next career goals. But that is, all the stories in between that time is what led to this moment here to be on this show. So thank you again for having me, Professor Anderson.
You are so welcome. Now, you were a student at both Los Medanos College and UC Davis. Did you attend any of the K through 12 schools in Pittsburgh or Antioch, or you came right from San Francisco to Los Medanos College?
Yeah, so when I graduated in high school, I actually attended the College of San Mateo for a little bit, but I actually dropped out. Yeah, so I was a community college dropout, and then went to work for a little bit to really I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in my life. That was the path for me. But I think there was a time where I was working at Lowe's, and I had that little forklift certification, throwing freight and stuff. But I just remember one time 2 older gentlemen telling me, like, hey, young brother, it's good to be here, but consider going back and giving it another shot. And part of me wanted to respond like, it's never too late for y'all too, but I don't think that's what the OG's message was. They're trying to tell me, like, you're good here, but you can do a lot more, especially with the time you have. So go give it a shot. So with that, that's when I enrolled in Los Medanos. This was about, I think, 2015. 2014, we moved out to Antioch, California from South San Francisco, California. We just got priced out of the peninsula. That's all it was.
Okay.
Just got very expensive. So, we go where we can get it. And that's what led me to enroll eventually in Los Medanos College. And then down those years, eventually end up in a class with Professor Henderson.
And
Trying
I
to.
am glad about that because my short time I had you in class, you were very intriguing to me, and I could tell that you were a very serious academic student. And I like that. Tell me, at UC Davis, what was your primary area of academic concentration and study?
Got you. Yeah. So at UC Davis, I'm the class of 2023. Go Ags! I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Neurobiology, Physiology, Behavior, with a minor in music.
Wow. And tell me, what are your experiences as a STEM major at UC Davis? As a
Um,
science major. Tell me what was that like? Was it something exciting? Did Los Medanos College prepare you for an effective transfer into the UC academic system?
So I firmly believe Los Medanos College, LMC for short. LMC, the wonderful science professors there from the biology department, the chemistry and physics. I did all of my prerequisites at Los Medanos College, and I felt really prepared by the time I transferred. It was challenging at Davis because I did transfer during the pandemic. So my first quarter at Davis was actually fall 2020. So you can imagine that time. It was a time, a very tumultuous time in our nation's history. During that time, we also didn't have a vaccine developed. So you can just imagine the kind of tension that was around in the community and things. And schooling was online for the most part. So, but we made the best of it. And I think I really enjoyed being able to get that education at Davis, but there was just so much other things I did. But being a STEM major there, man, it's definitely a lot different. I feel you have the difference in student to teacher ratio. That's definitely there. My office hours were tended to be going to teaching assistants, grad students who were, by the way, also very phenomenal. But it was just a different environment, but something I was very grateful for, because going from a very intimate environment like LMC to help prepare me, and then moving to a tier 1 research institution such as Davis, where there's around 35,000 people on campus when everything's operational. Just being able to interact with a different person every day and hearing about their experiences, I think that is like part of the beauty in the University of California.
So you had an enriching experience at UC Davis. I noticed that when looking at your LinkedIn page and staying in contact with you and just knowing a lot about you, first of all, I'm really proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you, my man. But just knowing a lot about you and reading, you did a lot of student advocacy work at Davis. Tell us about that. Some of your advocacy work that you did at UC Davis.
Yeah, absolutely. So student advocacy is, or just advocacy in general. I'll start off there. I really want to take a time before I go into this to really honor those who are really in the spaces of advocacy, doing advocacy work, because it is very challenging. It sort of forces you to be vulnerable in a way, to get things done. You step out of or at least that's how it was for me. And so, shout out to people that do that kind of work. But yeah, the advocacy, it was my first time stepping into that realm, if you will.
Okay.
And being vocal and ensuring that I am in rooms where I can advocate and have a seat at the table. And in my opinion, tables that I believe that historically were not made for me to be able to sit at. But that's why we advocate, and we do it anyway. And we shake the room, or take our seat at the table, or if need be, flip that table.
Now tell me, Mr. Abiel, tell me, what does that mean? You're Pacific Islander, correct? You're a Pacific Islander.
Yes.
And so tell me, how did your advocacy work improve life for Pacific Islander students at UC Davis, and your life while at UC Davis, and students coming after you?
Yeah. So coming into Davis, we had a Pacific Islander population. It was very small, but historically, Pacific Islanders, we are put together with our Asian brothers and sisters, forming the API or ANPI umbrella. But what led me to really advocate for Pacific Islanders is it's sort of a common phenomenon that I grew accustomed to my whole life. And I think it just finally came to a point where, all right, I got to do something now to change things. And what I'm talking about is visibility.
Okay.
Pacific Islanders, from my experience growing up, you may think of us when you think of the National Football League, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson might pop up in someone's head, or Troy Polamalu, but and then that's all, right? Because we're in the entertainment industry, right? Even the WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. But aside from that, you don't necessarily see us in sort of things that can, or how do I put this? You don't see our struggles. The general population they may know us where we are geographically. They may know our migration patterns, from Hawaii to California, or Washington, Oregon, the Western coast. But do you know our struggles? Is that documented in history? And I always grew up with a feeling that it wasn't. And because we weren't seen in the data, because we were aggregated within this large ANPI umbrella, you can't see that historically, we have higher dropout rates in high school. How, you might not see that our retention rates in college are, they teeter like a seesaw. And you can't see that in the data. And because you can't see us in the data, you can't make an informed decision on the resources or targeted resources that should be made. And unfortunately, the institution that was at UC Davis, we were in aggregate, I feel. And that aggregate made us unseen. And that was something I wanted to fix. And finally, it took so many years for me to just see that, wow, there's an opportunity here for me to do something. And now it's within me. It's like a calling where, like, I feel like I had to do it now. If I didn't, then I will be wasting the opportunity to make the campus that I attended better for future Pacific Islander scholars. So, I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, it did. I want to ask you, did the UC Davis administration address some of your perceived inequities or actual inequities towards the Pacific Islander student population, and tell us specifically um, what your concerns were and what the university began to accept or not accept as possible changes. Was it more funding? Was it to create a specialized center for student support for Pacific Islander students? Was it to have a designated professional to help the Pacific Islander students navigate the system? Give us more specific examples.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. So, it was actually the second thing you said, which was a specialized center, and within that specialized center, there would be, professional staff and targeted programming for not only Pacific Islander students, but other Asian students that are historically marginalized and tend to not be seen in the data as well. And so I'm talking about Filipino, Southeast Asian, those areas of Asia. And so how we got there and was really me taking a look at the campus. So as campus opened up fall 2021, I really got to get a good look at the campus. And when I looked around, I seen that we had 4 retention initiatives on campus. All right. And of these 4 retention initiatives, they are the Native American retention initiative, the African and African American retention initiative, the Latinx, Chicanx retention initiative, and the Asian and Pacific Islander retention initiative. All but one of them, and that one being the Asian and Pacific Islander retention initiative. Besides the AMPI retention initiative, the other 3 had a cultural identity center where they could run their targeted programming and resources. And that bothered me. That bothered me because of what I explained prior about not being seen. All right. And was that intent? Was that the university's intent? No, I'm not going to say that. But that was a gap in service in which I identified, and I would be doing a disservice to my people if I didn't be vocal about that. And so that's what we started to press forward on. And so I was a part of a cabinet of the vice chancellor. We have a vice chancellor, student affairs, amazing gentleman. And he had this cabinet of student leaders, and it was the inaugural one. And I was given the opportunity to step in as the representative of the AMPI retention initiative.
Wow.
And so the chance, right, the seat at the table was there, and I took it. And basically in one of the meetings, it was a very vulnerable moment, and I said, I'm doing a lot of these things on campus because I was very involved. I was a EMT at the UC Davis Fire Department. I was a student manager at the campus's Basic Needs Center, president of our chapter of our fraternity, even on a regional level. So I'm doing a lot of things for a lot of organizations that are front-facing, student-facing, community-oriented, and I'm helping my institution. But at the end of the day, when I go back, when I go for help, I see that the retention initiative that I would go and seek support from was housed in the corner office on the 2nd floor of the student community center. And it was just like a dimensions. It would be it would be like really a bedroom, like an office space. It wasn't that big, and all the professional staff were in there, and that's basically what I vocalized. And what I vocalized was, what kind of message are you trying to send? What kind of message are you trying to send students not like me? What are you trying to send marginalized students like me in the AMPI diaspora? When we're doing what we can on campus, and when it comes to the resources we need, it's not there. And so, I don't know what else you want me to go in.
No.
Going on there, but
you've talked a lot about, basically, in a nutshell, what you did was you helped to see the institution that the institution had. UC Davis had a lot of institutional oversight when it came to Pacific Islander students, even though in their mission statement, this is very typical of institutions, not just UC Davis, but LMC, UC Berkeley, Harvard, Cambridge, Yale, name it. Institutions sometimes have a tendency to make large blanket statements of what they do, but when you actually evaluate what is done, many times they never marry. And so what you basically did was encourage the university, which is a great university, to begin to put their dollars and put their resources where their writings were. Because it's not effective to write that we are an institution that supports all students, and then you concentrate on a greater level of support for any student sector, and then allow another student sector or population to have limited resources. So I want to tell you that is basically what Dr. King did for African Americans in a larger sense. But that is, Mr. Abiel, that is a wonderful, I would say, iconic thing that you did for people, not just from your own culture, but for students in general. Tell me, who influenced you to give you the strength? Because very often, professionals as well as students don't have many times people have the desire to want to do things, but sometimes they have fear. So who gave you and who influenced you to become sort of an academic, scholarly student, social activist? A person who was strong enough to bring these ideas to the institution, the university, and not back down.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, so one part of it was my faith. And so, I gotta give glory to God, because my path with my faith was very rocky. In fact, I remember when I was your student at LMC walking in and saying, I'm just interested in joining a chamber chorale with you. I'm not religious, but I'm just, looking for a class to take. And I've sang in the choir before. And, that path, that spiritual journey I took, I started getting back into scripture and stuff when I got to Davis. And I'm very thankful for that. So that was one part, my faith, that made me like, okay, I can do anything. So
that's right.
I could do this. I could do this. Second part is my fraternity. So it wasn't until after I joined my organization, just Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, historically predominantly Black fraternity, and man, from the brothers there, I really learned there's this piece called fear. where it's talking about fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that causes total obliteration. I must face my fear. I will allow them to pass over me and through them. And when it is gone past, I'll turn my inner eyes. He is past. And when it is done, and when it is gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Fear. And so, just, you know, with faith, and then joining the frat and learning more, and surrounding myself with men of like intent, with brothers of like intent, true manliness, I'll put it, if you will. And then that, along with mentors, that I would have talks with, Dr. Lupe Tolu, who's currently at UCSC teaching oceanic studies. Just talking with her, talking with other Pacifico or Pacific Islander scholars. So man, it was a combination of so many things, and really observing the environment around me. I remember before I went there, you told me to you know, try to find professors or Dr. Selu or Brother Caton Carter. So eventually I saw both. I didn't see Dr. Selu until the end, but
Okay.
but I knew of Brother Caton Carter, and you know, him, Brother Carter, seeing how he was able to do, and how he moved strategically. That was something that I took from him when navigating what we call the academy, and how to, you know, move correctly, or not correctly, but in the most advantageous way, so that we ensure we get the right results for the cause.
I like what you're really talking about is strong faith and no fear. Having strong faith and no fear, and watching those characters in various organizations and different people, not only on the campus but abroad. I mean, Dr. George Selu is phenomenal as a professor in, I believe, the animal plant science area. And,
yeah, correct.
And Administrator Caton Carter, he is phenomenal, and he's a wonderful source for all students of color at UC Davis. Tell me, what are some of the areas, what are some other areas that you think that all colleges and universities can improve to ensure equitable student support services for all students of diversity?
Yeah, thank you for that question. For my advocacy, I think we need to take a good look at how we collect data, how we interpret it as well, and really think about our strategic plans and you know, what our goals are. But essentially, my story was, you know, how my people tended to get lost in the data. Because of that, you can't see our struggles. And so, one thing I'd say for, you know, colleges is, you know, take a look at your data. If you're aggregating it, you know, really think, okay, you know, so for example, the API sort of umbrella, if you will. You know, if you're at an institution where that API is bunched together, and you have a population of 15,000 on that campus, let's say at UC Davis, how do you know that 15,000 is you know, really going strong? Let's say out of that 15,000, 12,000 are graduating on time. You know, they have average to above average grades. But is that okay? What about that other 3,000? That other 3,000 that I may fall in.
Right.
Or do we not matter?
What you're talking about is to make data become more alive, to make it more livable, more reasonable, more actual, to make the data more actual and factual in terms of what you're doing with it. And if I'm saying that correctly, you think?
Yeah, and sort of in a nutshell, data equity.
Oh, that's right. That's
data equity.
Understand it. You know what? I really once again want to commend you for the strength, a strong faith and no fear. That's what I got from what you said earlier. Strong faith and no fear in order to be able to compel change where needed. Let's take a little migration for a second. Please describe some of your other academic interests, such as music. Have you ever heard of the term biomusicology? The study of music that was created back in 1991 by the famous Swedish biologist and researcher, Dr. Niels Wallen. It kind of talks about and explores the connection between music and biology. Because when music is math, there's a lot of variation in pitches and volume, tempo, rhythms. And when people listen to music, basically, they experience vibrations of sound waves in a structured and harmonious way. So tell us something about your involvement with music. And I'm just curious, as a STEM major, have you ever heard of the term biomusicology?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So me personally, I haven't heard of biomusicology. Okay. However, I've had a couple of professors, graduate TAs, and they were studying ethnomusicology. But for me, my walk with music, it was a part of I definitely have to tie that to my faith. My father, I grew up in a Congregationalist church in San Francisco, California, and my father, he led the choir. He played the piano, and I grew up around that. And I grew up around a lot of different music because my dad, he got his bachelor's of music from San Francisco State University.
Wow. I wonder if your dad and I ran across each other years ago.
Man, maybe. So he was there. I think he was there from 1982 to 1985. 81 to 85.
Yeah, those are the years I was working on my master's degree.
Okay, I bet he does. I bet he does know you. I bet he knows of you. Yep, definitely.
Well, you tell him I said hello.
Yeah. Okay. I will. So, and yeah, he did it. He didn't do it for aspirations to be a big musician. He did it all for God. He said, I want to learn more music, learn how to play, learn how to play better. And then he brought that back to the church and, kept going from that. So growing up in that led me to eventually, when I got to Los Medanos and walking into your office, that was sort of the inspiration. You taught chamber chorale. I know you taught gospel choir. But I know in that last, moment at Los Medanos College, I was like, you know what? Let me tap back into this music, and maybe there's something here that I'm missing, and there definitely was. Everyone needs to study music.
Well, you know what? I agree with that because music is science, and science moves the world. Tell us about, first of all, I want to congratulate you once again on your wonderful award, but share your thoughts about your 2023 being the award recipient for the UC Davis
Yeah.
President's Award for Student Leadership and Advocacy for Pacific Islander students. That is quite an honorable achievement as you were graduating with your Bachelor of Science degree in Neurobiology, Physiology, and Behavior. Tell me, what are your feelings about that? How did you feel? Did you feel that you had made a lot of accomplishments just as a young scholar, or did you see that as a global award to thank the community of the Pacific Islander? You just happen to be the one receiving it.
It would have to be the latter.
Okay.
It would have to be the latter. Because, man, when I got that award, I felt like these tiny islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the largest ocean in the world, we were seen.
That's wonderful.
You know, I went. It was like a victory. I was hoisting the flag, and the flag was made of ocean water.
That's right.
The flag was the ocean, and basically, Professor Henderson, it was like I won the war. Like I stood toe to toe with the university, and held steadfast through it all, and that led me to this moment, to be acknowledged with that honor. It was so I was in 2023 last year. I was the only undergraduate, and then there was a graduate professional school student. She was the professional student that won it. So there's two of us that won, and just out of I think it's 290,000 eligible, people in the UC system that can get that award, and to be the ones chosen, for me is like, who would have thought? I'm a community college dropout. When I was 17, 18, I didn't know what I wanted to do with life. Matter of fact, the downs that I've been through, the peaks and valleys that led me to who I am today, I wouldn't change it for the world. But yeah, who would have thought me?
But you know what? You've been talking about strong faith and no fear. Strong faith and no fear. And with your belief in a higher power, and with your background and your determination, wonderful things followed you. And you made a great acknowledgement and change for not only from your own community, ethnic community, but for students in general. Now, tell me a little bit about your Bachelor of Science degree in Neurobiology, Physiology, and Behavior. What are your future goals, as we know that this concentrates on discovering how animals, which include humans, function, think, and behave?
Yeah. So I think what really made me narrow down into being a biology major was life itself.
Okay.
I find myself to be a very spiritual person, and when I think about biology, I think about like looking through a microscope and seeing, an organism moving, but you don't know exactly what to expect sometimes, and that's sort of the beauty of life. It's like the sporadic things, things that are alive, us, and that sort of level of you can sort of maybe guess what may happen, but you never know. That's sort of what led me towards the study of life or biology.
Okay.
And it just so happened. Now it was just a natural evolution of my interests. Over my time at LMC, trying to figure out who I was on the path of self-discovery. At one point, I considered healthcare by way of nursing, so I was pre-nursing, and I remember taking a bio majors course at Los Medanos College, Bio 20, and before I took it, I was like, can I wonder if I can hang with these biology majors, because I'm just a pre-nursing. And lo and behold, I sure was. I sure was. And so after that, and also talking with biology staff there at Los Medanos, my physiology professor, Dr. Kyle Hanks, my bio professor, Professor Jancy Rickman, my organic chemistry professor, Professor Mindy Capes. I made that switch from pre-nursing to pre-med, and I felt that, and that's no knock to nursing, they're wonderful, they're necessary, they're needed, but I never considered myself smart enough to do it. In fact, when I was a pre-nursing major, I thought I was rolling the dice. Like, man, am I even smart enough to be a nurse as well? Because that's a challenging job. That's a challenging task. I'm aiming for that. But over time, you meet people, and there was those people that believed in me that made me have a moment of an epiphany that, like, that I just gotta look within. Like, Abiel, you can do this. You can do anything you put your mind to. And mind you, during that time, I struggled with my faith, and so I didn't really know what I was doing. But it's like everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, and I think leading with integrity and humility, and believing in myself led me to want to be an aspiring physician. And tying it to my student advocacy, I'm more specific. I have the desire to be an aspiring physician with like the motivation to serve at the intersection of medicine and community development, and business, and just to really elevate marginalized voices like mine, and make that vow. Like, when I'm a physician, I make a vow that when I'm a physician, Professor Henderson, I will not let my patients go unseen.
So you want to work in primarily a person, I think it's the epidemiology that deals with disease, or
that's a great question. So
you're still kind of deciding.
Yeah. So
what is your concentration area?
So I've experienced in the emergency setting being an EMT, but after speaking with mentors and just learning more about medical school, I realized that I may not know until I'm in that third year rotating through the different disciplines. But as of right now, I have an interest in I'd say primary care, and health policy, but primary care just because I think in that discipline, especially considering the places that I would be working in the future, that's definitely a big factor. I'll just be a physician that can help in help make an historically, privileged and privileged profession such as medicine to be more of who the patients are. They put it that way, more of who the patients are.
So you want to be able to help I would say marginalized communities to receive wonderful medical care and attention.
Absolutely. I would say, yeah, the urban underserved would be my focus.
That's right. Listen, tell me, I am so inspired by you, Mr. Abiel. Tell me, what can I do, or what can the institution do to continue to help support your professional dreams, and be specific? How can a retired academic such as myself, or what can individuals who are still working actively in the system do to help advance your continued professional dreams?
Got you. Thank you so much. So for the admins that are currently doing the work, I would say to host discussions, dialogue, but don't be performative with it. Really listen to what students' needs are and what they're advocating for. And I get it, right? Sometimes admins have to think, okay, well, do we have the funds? Is this population a critical mass? Right? Things of that nature. But at these discussions that you hold, throw all of that out the window. Really listen and have real conversations.
That's right.
Real conversations. See, I remember when I did what I did at UC Davis, I remember the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, Pablo Reguerin, a wonderful man. And he said, what Abiel just said right here, because I was on the verge of tears. When I was saying it, you could hear me choking up when I was advocating and stuff and how I felt. And this was the first time someone ever did it. The first time someone ever really, got vulnerable with the whole room in there. Student leaders from every which corner of the campus, even graduate students. And I remember him saying, this is why we have these discussions. Real conversations like that.
That's right.
And so if admins can do that, can encourage students, because what I did was express myself, true expression. And I know institutions love to champion that. Express yourself, right? Express who you are. So hold these dialogues and have people be able to express themselves fully, even if it may be uncomfortable to hear, because you have to think about, it's probably uncomfortable for them to be able to finally say it, to get over that hill. And so that's something I'd say for them, for people who are no longer in the area, right? Man, I'd say, you know what? I say continue to sort of what I mentioned earlier, but have an open ear on issues that are going on. Just because it may not be affecting you personally doesn't mean, it has implications or ramifications down the line for you. And also, what I did, it wasn't just for my people in a sense. I view what I did as a move against the powers that be. Powers that historically don't push down just Pacific Islander students. Nah, I felt like it was just my turn to do what needed to be done for my people. But historically, Black and brown communities, it's just if you're an admin, I'm trying to tie this in, but if you're an admin that's not doing this work anymore, be an ally. Be a strong one. Know when to amplify someone's microphone, if need be. Make sure, if you're an ally to another community that you're not usually associated with, make sure your moves are on behalf of the primary stakeholders in that community. So just be a great ally, because I'd say in the grand scheme of things, Professor Henderson, it's all of us together. It's all of us together in this. And we just gotta be united and see the bigger picture.
Mr. Malepeai, you are a wonderful young professional, and you are a wonderful young scholar, and I so look forward to you completing your professional dreams of becoming a physician. Can you share any final thoughts with our media digital world that you would like to communicate?
Yeah. I sure would. And this is something that I said at the 2024 Asian Pacific Americans in Higher Education Conference that was held in Oakland, California. And I say this to admins across California, or really across the digital space. And this is for y'all, and for the Pacifica or Pacific Islander students that hear me. So I'll say this. I believe that the Pacific Islander student across the educational landscape stands at a crossroads. If we step back, we will fall into erasure. So we have no choice but to step forward. In the grand scheme of things, as the machine of oil and its byproducts takes its toll on our islands and manifests itself in reality in the form of rising sea levels, to my admins at these colleges, creating a space in all campuses is one of the things admins can change to create tangible change within the lives of a student population that more than likely not will lose their ancestral homes due to the actions of larger nations outside of their control.
I am grateful. My team and I, we are very grateful to you and your heart and your honesty. As the CEO for Professors for Life Incorporated, along with my colleagues that work along with me, I want to thank you for taking the time to share your journey of learning, of advocacy, and your strength to develop strong faith and no fear. God bless you, and thank you once again for coming on, and we'll be talking soon.
Thank you for having me, Professor Anderson. God bless
you. Thank you. God bless now. Bye-bye now.